Hi, I'd like to welcome Will Baldi
Hello.
to the Sweatbox Chatterbox. Will's a Sweatbox member, and we've done another podcast about Will and his journey with exercise over the years. But what we've got today is, because Will's got an interesting job, he's a director of photography on some big budget films. He's just finished series 2 of The Sandman for Netflix. You've done Willow for Disney, Peaky Blinders. Was that BBC?
I think
It's ITV. I can't remember.
BBC. Oh my god! Sometimes I can't remember either.
You've done The Pact for the BBC, which was a Welsh drama, and you got a BAFTA. You got a BAFTA for that. It was amazing. You've done Alex Rider for Amazon, Britrania. That's the Roman series, wasn't it?
Yeah,
on Sky.
I think it's gone now, but it was quite a long-running series.
And you've done Sanditon, Wigs and Bonnets, wasn't it, for PBS, and various episodes of Doctor Who when you were younger. And you finished the feature film Jackdaw for Netflix.
That was an exciting one. Yeah.
So, well, what got you into this line of work? Or what inspired you to pursue a career?
I would say, like, I always, in some weird way, I always knew that it's what I wanted to be.
Yeah.
Which I think a lot of people probably say, but like, I literally had, it was like a natural progression between, like, from the earliest I can remember, I would be making videos at home and stuff, just like my mum's DV cam, and roping my friends in to do that kind of stuff, and literally just bringing them to my house and making them like reenact scenes from my favorite films with like the DV camera. And I was always doing that. Literally, I was anyone I could in the playground. I was like, come to mine after school. I'm going to put a wig on you, and you're going to reenact this scene from Pirates of the Caribbean or something like that. And then it just kind of progressed from. It's like you start there, and then I kind of became more niched and went towards more the camera and the lighting side. And even from like when I was like 10 years old, I remember like collecting up all the lamps in my mum and dad's house and putting them into a room and just like lighting spaces with like colored bulbs and stuff like that. And just creating atmospheres in these rooms. And I think that's like where it started. And then as I grew older and was asked questions of what I wanted to do, it's like, I want to do this thing. I want to make movies. I want to be a cinematographer. I want to do the camera bit. And I learned the word cinematographer. That's the thing I want to do, you know. I want to do that one. So I think that's kind of where it originated. I mean, I was always watching like old westerns and stuff with my dad. And I remember like I just wanted to be able to like be a part of creating like escapism for people. And I think that's probably like a big part of it as well. Just trying to create things to help people escape from
the mundane life.
Mundane life of reality. I just really enjoy creating atmosphere and creating like some emotion in it, really. I think that's where it came from.
You mentioned Pirates of the Caribbean. Was there anything else that inspired you when you were younger that got you into TV and film? Or was it just the film and TV itself?
I really like films that capture the world so well that they completely embody you in it. Like Pirates of the Caribbean, like there's such a good world building in that, series. And like, Spielberg stuff, like Jaws and things like that. And I mean, I love like Titanic, for example. I just think like that film, even now when I watch it, I just feel completely captivated by the world in it. And it just feels like it's so complete. I feel like I'm just peering into a window and there's no like gaps in it.
There's a reason for that, because the director he must be on the spectrum, because even the cutlery in the Titanic was the same cutlery as they had on Titanic, same make. And there was logos on the cutlery that you can't even see.
I bet.
That's detail, isn't it? Detail you're never going to see. But amazing. It was there just in case they needed to.
It's attention to detail, isn't it? Everything's about that.
It's amazing. So how did you break into the industry?
I mean, do you mean like... I have a physical story of what I did.
Go on. Let's have that one.
So basically I was at university doing a film course and I was in the second year. I'm not going to say what unit it was, but like I didn't like it. not like I didn't like it, it just wasn't for me.
Or was it the university didn't like you? Was that?
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure maybe they found me like I wasn't conformative enough for them. But like, I remember like I had to retake the second year because I just didn't do what was required of me, which was, you know, only my fault. But like, I was driving home. Basically, I had to redo the second year, and I needed someone to help me write a letter of plea to the university to convince them to let me like stay on.
Sure.
And then I decided to drive home the completely long way to my house for no reason at all. I came across a film set, and I decided to get out of my car, and I walked to the production like base. I walked to the production office, knocked through the door, and just said, "Hi, my name's Will. I want to work in the camera department." And they were like, "Do you want to start now?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay." So they literally took me onto set, and I became a camera trainee for like a week for free.
Right, stop there. If that happened on a film, no one would believe it.
No, I know. Yeah, I know.
It's crazy.
It is crazy, yeah. So like, yeah, so I knocked on the door, like I didn't know what I was doing. I was wearing like shorts and a t-shirt, I swear. And then they just like, "Do you want to start right now?" So I walked onto set, and I had no idea what I was doing. They introduced me to the camera team, and they were like, "This is called a BNC, which is like a cable." And I just started like calling up the cables like they asked me to do it.
You're a cable guy.
Basically, yeah. I'm making coffees, teas for people.
Yeah.
And they were like, so I did that for free for a week. I just went home every day and went back every day. And then they were just like, do you want to stay on as a camera trainee? Do you want to come with us? So I just said, yeah. And I quit uni, and I just did that. And then so I was a camera trainee for like a few years. And then I was like a loader.
Yeah.
I never got to focus puller because then after I got to loader, I decided to like jump out and pursue just shooting stuff. So like music videos, like corporate films, whatever I could.
Yeah. So focus puller, is that the guy that moves the camera forward and back?
Oh, so that's a grip. But
that's a grip.
Focus puller is someone who basically keeps the field of play in focus with like whatever needs to be in focus. Right. So like the actor's face. But it's quite a tricky job. You have to be quite like zen to do it.
Can't you just use a wide angle lens and just leave it? Like Spielberg?
Not all the time. It's quite a stylistic choice, that. But
so going back to your first job, what was that production? Can you remember?
Yeah, that was Poldark.
Poldark?
Yeah, that was like the new series.
The
newest one, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so I ended up doing like, I can't remember how many
was
series.
Was that in Cornwall?
Yeah, so when I bumped into them, it was in Wiltshire. So where I live, it was like right literally around the corner of my house.
They'd done some filming in Laycock, didn't they? Some of the big houses there.
It was in like Chalfield Manor in Broughton Gifford. Yeah. So that's like where I live.
I know, I've been there. They've got some gardens there. It's open to the public, isn't it?
Yeah.
I know, right.
So it was like there's like a field which they used as a unit base, and I just like literally walked into the field, and I didn't even know. Like I don't even know how I found the production office. Like I think the whole thing was luck. It was just a trailer. Like back then, I had no idea what. Yeah. It might have said production on the door. I'm not sure, but I just walked into like even now it'd be hard to walk into a unit base. I don't know how I managed to do it. And I was wearing like pretty much high vis, I swear. Yeah. So yeah, that's how it all started.
So now you're a director of photography.
Yeah.
Can you just run through what you're in charge of then as a director of photography and how that differs from the director?
So so it's like I oversee the grip department, which is what basically everything the camera goes onto. Yeah. So anything that like you put the camera on to move, or a tripod, or like a dolly, or anything.
You always see grip on the credits. I've always wondered what a grip is.
Yeah, that's what they do. They just anything the camera goes on, they control that.
Yeah.
And then obviously the lighting department, I oversee that, and then the camera department itself. Yeah. So I oversee those three departments.
Like gaffer, I've heard the term gaffer.
Yeah, so gaffer's he's head of the lighting department.
Right.
So I'll have like a grip, gaffer, and then like maybe camera operators. Yeah. And that's like the main people I would, communicate with. Yeah. So the director will tell me what they want, and then I'll gather the troops, which is like the grip, the gaffer, and often the camera operators, and say, look, we would need to do this, the camera needs to be here, lights need to be like that. And I'll kind of control that part of it. Mm. I mean, there's like that line is often like blurred, but it's like if you were to write a textbook, that's how you
You
put
couldn't do
it.
it.
Yeah.
But it can vary on set.
Yeah, it
to
depends
set,
on
I
the directors
suppose,
and stuff.
and how big the budget is, perhaps.
Yeah. So
Who's
obviously,
you got?
you know, sometimes I'm doing all those things.
Yeah.
As you get like bigger productions, you basically become a floor manager.
Yeah.
So like on big shows like you know, like Sandman, I'm basically a floor manager.
Yeah.
I don't even like touch the cameras. But
I mean, that's got a crazy budget, Sandman, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like $15 million or £15 million an episode.
I can't remember anymore, but it's
I
something
think it
like
was
that.
about, I think I read something somewhere in the trade thing. And
but it's like Jackdaw. I do.
Oh yeah.
You know, I operate the camera and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I do a lot of those things.
That was a good movie.
Yeah, it was fun.
Good, yeah.
But it's like I like to be quite hands-on anyway. So even on like huge productions like Sandman, I'll be on set like moving lights myself and stuff. And you've got like the lighting department freaking out because I'm not meant to be doing that. And they're like, we'll do it for you. And I'm like, all right, because I'm so precise with where light needs to be and stuff. Yeah. And I like to have like everything on set, so I can like dim things myself from that. Yeah. It's just like about feeling sometimes. Yeah.
I mean, you have got a good attention to detail. People might not know this, but I do train you in boxing.
Yeah.
And over the years, you've come and gone as you've done your different projects around the world. But you do like to train and get things exactly right.
The OCD,
So I can see that. I can see how you would be like that on set.
Yeah. I like to. It's like attention to detail, isn't it? It's like I always say, people, you can have two watches, and what's really the difference between those two watches? One's about the attention to detail, one isn't. That's why they cost different.
Yeah. I mean, I did do a quick bit of research about DOPs, as you call them, directing photography, and there's sort of. Some of them tend to work with the same director, don't they? Yeah. Again and again. And there seems to be a bit of a team up, like sort of the Batman and Robin thing going on there. And that's like, so it looks up like, so Spielberg worked a lot with Kaminsky on Schindler's List, Saving Private Ryan and Lincoln. And you can see they have a sort of a look, don't they?
Yeah.
Are you teamed up with anyone? Or
yeah. So it's like me, I work with a director called Jamie Childs a lot.
Right. Okay.
It's like something which, like, especially in TV, it's died out. Like, there was a period where I feel that, like, this, like, unity between, like, filmmaking teams basically, like, dwindled away.
Right.
It stopped happening. And I think it was a shame. So, and I think it really, like, you can see it, like, kind of the quality of things lack when it's always fresh teams who haven't worked with each other at all. So me and Jamie decided, to team up because we really love working with each other. Yeah. And we've done quite a lot of projects together now. We have a great relationship. He's more my brother than he is like, he's not like, I don't see him as like a director. He's first and foremost, he's like my best friend. Yeah. And I just like, every time I get to work with him, I feel lucky, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, I suppose with any project, whether it's big or small, there's hardships, isn't there? Yeah. In any project, and you've been through the wars together, I suppose. And it's easier to communicate with someone. Yeah. That you've been through stuff with. Yeah.
The last thing, like, we have a shorthand now, so like he doesn't even talk to me. I know what he wants. It's like the last thing you want is go on a project and like as a director work with a DP who's just gonna like try and constantly push their version of how they see the project and try and like work around you. And it's like, as a DP, it's our job, like we're there to serve the director. It's not like, oh, this DP made this movie, or this movie's made by this DP. Like that's not a thing. No. So it's our job to basically fulfill the director's vision. And obviously, like, we add a lot to it, and there'll be certain directors which should be like, I couldn't achieve what I do about my DP. That's why they always work with the same DPs, but it's also the DP's job to like make sure it's the director's vision and you're achieving that. Rather, like, sometimes just, I don't know, I'm sure there are DPs who think that it's all about them and their way they want to do things, but it's just, I just don't think it's the case. It's like, you're there for the director at the end of the day.
Yeah. So what does pre-production look like? So you've got a project. I mean, I know that soon you're going to Canada, aren't you? To film something. Yeah. A film or TV series. What does that process look like?
Well,
as a DP,
So I get hired, I guess. And then,
Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Hopefully, I get hired if I'm lucky. And then it's like with Jamie, it kind of we start by throwing like loads of references around, and they're like good ones, bad ones, is everything. It's like it's a storm of like a yin and yang, isn't it? It's like you need to get the bad ideas out of the way before you get to the good ones, and sometimes that means like sifting through bad ideas. And then so we kind of start then, we'll both go off separately and read the scripts and then maybe come together and do it. I mean, I would say it's quite an organic process. And
so the collaboration with the director, because that's the most important thing.
Oh, yeah. So that's, So the most important thing is definitely that. It's like, first and foremost, if I'm not working with Jamie, when I go into a job, it's about my relationship with the rest of the team. And quite often I will choose a job based on that. It won't be always about the script. It'll be about like, do I want to work with these people? Are we like on par? Are we going to get on? Because it's just, otherwise life's too short. But I would say like time and time again, I've been trying to figure out what like my process of like prep is in pre-production. It just changes every time. It depends on the project. And I've come to the conclusion now that like, it's just organic. And it's like, sometimes I need to do this and sometimes I need to do that. I don't really have a system. It's more just like, what's your creative process in like getting those ideas? Is it like walking around in like nature for a bit? Is it watching movies? Is it both? Is it looking up images? Like, I don't think there's any set way to do it.
So you've got a sort of a palette.
Yeah. It's almost like sifting through everything until like something feels right. And sometimes it's doing none of those things. And it's actually just like, you know what, I'm going to forget about this project for a few days and then the idea will come to you. Sometimes it's that.
Okay. What about CGI now? What are your views on AI or CGI being used in films? Would you rather have a set or a green screen? What's easier for you?
I think everyone would say set. I don't know anyone who would say green screen. Not even that. No one would say green screen. Maybe apart from the VFX department, but like,
or the people that make green screens.
Or who make green screens. But they're just demoralizing. Like they're a bit dull.
Must be hard for the actors to get into character with it. Just I mean, not being an actor, but I think it'd be easier to believe it if you're in it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, you have to kind of tell. I always see them have conversations with the VFX, supervisor about like where things are and how big things are. I mean, a lot of times you'll have like reference points or like puppets or just like a big green block that represent like one pillar or something. So it's like there's one pillar, but imagine like 1,000 more.
There was a guy with a puppet. And it's supposed to be a prehistoric monster.
There's a lot of that. But me and Jamie always try to at least have like mostly practical set, and then we'll have like VFX extensions on it. That's the way we work. We try to do as much in camera as we can. We like stay quite true to that. With Sandman, we rarely had like blue or green screen. It was all just sets and stuff.
I mean, is it easier? Is it more cost effective to have CGI now? So I think in the old days, CGI was very expensive, and it was probably cheaper to have a set. But now having a set is more expensive than having CGI.
I don't know for sure, but I have a feeling that it went that way, but it's gone back the other way. So I've got a feeling that actually CGI is more expensive now. Sets are almost cheaper now. And also like on Sandman, we recycle sets a lot. We had like a guy called Gary Steele, who's the production designer. He's really good. He was amazing, and like they would just recycle sets like a lot of the time, and we just like bring different backdrops from different sets, but I would like light them differently, so they just look like different backdrops and stuff like that. Or just like spin a bit of set around so they look different. We did quite a lot of that. It's just like clever solutions.
You do a lot of work for streaming companies. Obviously, everybody does that. Has streaming and the demand for product affected how directors of photography work at all? Having to. Is there a style for streaming now that it's got to look like this, and you're boxed in a little bit, perhaps?
I would say there is, but I don't think it's anything that's enforce. I think it's like mass hysteria.
Yeah.
And it's almost like people, I don't want to use the word scared, but maybe I will. It's almost like people think that's how it has to be done because everyone does it.
Yeah.
Because the last person did it.
Yeah.
And people, I think, are losing like the voice a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think that it's probably some sort of mass hysteria of like, it needs to look this way because it's for, you know, but it's like Disney their stuff seems to have a look, like Netflix stuff seems to have a look. I do think like different streamers seem to have some kind of look, but I think that's a lot of that's done in the grade and things like that. They have like some kind of look they put on everything.
Yeah.
I know I'm fabricating this, it might not be true.
No. What's some of the most, let's go back to locations and sets. What's the most challenging location you filmed in?
Oh, it was definitely like
Or
Alex,
are there a few stories?
Oh yeah, there's probably a few. Alex Rider was quite challenging. That was like so we were in Romania at the top of I can't remember what the mountain range is called, but it's like they call it the Romanian Alps.
Right.
But it's not the Alps, but
it's high up, it's snowy.
Yeah, it is.
It's Alp-like.
Yeah. I think it's like just on the end of the Alps.
Yeah.
But so we filmed someone coming down from the top of the mountain on a ironing board. That was really hard because it was like high altitude. So it was like you could only walk a few paces before you're out of breath and stuff. And every morning, like we had to, obviously every day we had to come up down off the mountain. It took 2 hours. I think it was 2.5 hours each way every day. So you'd wake up like 4 a.m., 2.5 hours just like in snowmobiles going up the mountain, film for a few hours, and then do the same on the back
2.5 hours
to get up every morning.
And back.
It was like bumpy, snowy roads like, every morning. And it was like, I remember just because of the high altitude and the lack of oxygen, I just remember like the last few days, we'd like go up there and I was just looking at the grip and he looked at me, he looked so white and he just went to the toilet and threw up because I was just so tired. It was, I really enjoyed it, but that was quite hard. And then Jackdaw was filmed in the north of England in winter.
Didn't you do because of some scenes, because it starts off, he's in the sea, isn't he?
Yeah, there was some stuff in the water. Yeah,
in the water.
That was really hard.
But on the canoes.
Yeah,
and
so we filmed that like.
It was in winter.
Yeah,
off the coast of Hartlepool.
Off the coast of Hartlepool in the north.
In the wind and the rain.
Yeah, it was horrific.
Yeah,
and me and Jamie, the director, were in the water. It was just us two.
Yeah,
with the camera.
Yeah.
We were just in the water probably for like, I would say about 8 hours filming it. And it was just like, it was about up to here, the water. It was just freezing cold, like so cold. And like, obviously a lot of that show was at night. And I think it went up to like -12.
Yeah.
And like people were getting frostbite and stuff. It was literally the point, it was like, when do we stop? Because this was like so cold.
Yeah.
So that was pretty hard.
So it was an endurance test.
Yeah, no, I've never, I literally have like PTSD from how cold it got. It got so cold that I was just like, I couldn't feel my feet, but I had to just ignore it and hope for the best in the morning. It was horrific, but it was worth it. It was fun.
So how much of your job would you say is technical? I mean, and how much of it is artistic as a percentage?
So I try to always stay towards the artistic side. I think like so many DPs get caught up in the technicalities of things, and it's like they describe shots through like how you technically achieve it rather than like how it should feel. So I'm quite careful I would say, I'm not that technical. I mean, I know the technical stuff, but I shy away from it because I don't want to get caught up in it.
Yeah.
And I have a good team around me who can like, if you have a good team, like a good grip and gaffer, you know, they'll make up in the technical area where you don't. But I would say it's always really useful to like learn all the technicalities. You definitely need to know it, but you don't need to use it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So do you have, as a DOP, a director of photography, do you have a budget as well? Are you constrained, or have you got, say, you've got this much for this, or does it come out of the main budget?
Yeah, no, we do. We get budgets per department. So like the grip, you know, camera and lighting all have budgets, but it's like rarely do I get involved with that. That's more like the grip, the gaffer. I mean, actually, camera budget I normally get involved with, but like the lighting budget and, you know, the grip package, like they normally, you know, like the key grip and the gaffer normally protect me from that.
Yeah.
If it's like, if we need to save money and they've done everything they can,
Right.
and they don't know what else to do, then they'll come to me. But like normally they'll protect me against that.
So how do you balance the budget against creativity? I mean, you sort of answered it already, haven't you?
I've never really had a problem with
because
it,
you're more of
to
an
be honest.
artistic man than
Yeah, I don't mind. Like, I actually quite like the challenge when production says we don't have enough money, we need to do this cheaper. I'm not the kind of person that's going to be like, nah. I'm going to be okay, right? Well, let's do it, and let's find a way to make this like come in budget. I would never. I just think that's part of your job as a creative person.
Yeah.
Like, anyone can be like creative if you've got unlimited resources. It's easy. Like, but if you've got limited resources, that's like true creativity. Like, produce something which looks like $1 billion for like $100. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
That's like what a real creative person can do well.
Yeah, good. What in the gym? Obviously, this is the Sweatbox Chatterbox podcast, and we've got a lot of gym members, lots of them in the media, etc. Lots of cameramen. In fact, when we were out doing our pad work earlier, there was 2 guys talking about focus pulling and things like that. And I thought,
Really?
they must be in the media as well.
I heard that.
Yeah, I heard the focus pulling. So those people, those gym members that will be listening to this, that are into the technicalities, what are your go-to lenses and cameras?
I think that always depends on the project, but like at the moment, me and Jamie use Panavision a lot. So we use like a lot of so basically like we use on Sandman, we use a mix of Panavision and anamorphic. So they have like G series. I'm gonna get probably some of this stuff wrong because it gets so confusing. But G series, T series, I think there's like E series. Yeah. We use like a mix of them because basically Spielberg for Ready Player
uses T.
It was a T series.
T series.
Yeah. So there were some close focus ones they made, especially for Ready Player 1, and we managed to get like 3 of them for Sandman.
I think it's T for Spielberg.
I think it probably is as well. And then
T13. Is that right?
Oh, I don't know.
T1.3. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. No,
I'm making stuff up. I'm making stuff up now.
Yeah. I honestly, it wasn't G series, but
it was.
So we would use like 3 of them, and then we'd have to like use like 2 lenses from like the G series. And
I mean, they cost more in the house, don't they? Some of these cameras.
They're like, they have no value, but that's like, that's made. You know what I mean? Like that's like because we all agree on that.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, what's the real value of them? Yeah. It's like,
it's what we're prepared to pay. I suppose.
Yeah. But yeah, we use Panavision a lot. Like, but it depends on the project and what the requirements are, to be fair. Like, I've used pretty much every lens out there.
Yeah.
I've used like clean lenses, like, you know, Zeiss lenses and stuff like that, and then really dirty lenses. Like on Sandman, we ended up using so basically like there's this thing called a lookup table, which is LUT, a LUT, and that's like almost it's like almost like a film stock. Like you create the color kind of palette of like the look of the show.
Right.
So it's basically like an in-camera grade. So you can control the contrast, like the color, like where the white balance kind of sits and stuff like that, how high the highlights are and stuff. But with Sandman on the second block, we actually did that with filters. So we used like old film correction filters, which to make it look like really blue, and then we use other filters to like desaturate it. Yeah. And I created like looks solely with glass rather than like lookup tables.
Right.
To mainly as an experiment, but it just like felt a bit more real. I mean, there was some combinations where it looked a bit naff, but like it was just an interesting, you know, way to go around it rather than just relying like on a digital look all the time.
Yeah, good. So talking about the look, do you think you've got a signature style now? Because you've been doing it for some years.
Yeah.
Do you think, that's my look, that's my style?
I don't know. Maybe. Yeah. I sometimes think about that, but I'm like, but I feel like the things I shoot differ so much because it depends on the project. I definitely like my contrast. I like things to be dark, and moody. I wouldn't. I would say that my stuff's quite colourful. I quite like using colour a lot.
Yeah.
Colour on contrast. I don't like things to feel like desaturated, and I like things to feel quite natural as well. I don't like things to feel like they've been forced in a certain direction. I like things to feel organic. But I would say color and a lot of darkness is what I do quite well.
Yeah. I think there's a lot. I think there's too much darkness these days in some things.
I do too. Yeah.
And you really can't see some of the characters.
Yeah.
You're thinking, well, what's the point of doing any blocking with that? Because you can't see it. All I can see is one shadow and perhaps two shadows in the background. You can't really see much.
Yeah. I think like it's
gone too far.
It depends where you do it. Like, you know, there's argument that you could put across it. It's like if you have an image where you can barely see what that thing is, it makes you peer into it more and pay more attention to it because you're trying to figure out what you're looking at. If that's intentional, it's great, but if it's not, then what's the point? I think there are tools where like you can use darkness for things like that to like the audience member, like you say, might be like, oh, this is annoying, but maybe that's what you're trying to do to them. You try and annoy them. Like, you try and make them like
you're trying to get the emotions.
Concentrate on that image.
Yeah, I suppose a bit like if you're trying to make someone look scared, you tend to film it from the top down a bit, don't you?
Yeah,
a little bit down, like
where you place the camera,
like the shower scene in what was it, that Hitchcock one?
Yeah, like that.
It's looking down a bit.
Yeah, but you just do the same thing with like light.
So, Will, if I was to give you a £300 million budget, or a Mission Impossible budget, what would you do with it? What would you make?
I would.
Any pet projects?
Me and Jamie always got scripts and like ideas thrown around. So we would find one of them and find the best, most suitable script for that budget and probably do something like that. We would definitely do a feature. Yeah. I can't think of what one, but there's so many of them. I mean, that's what I do. We would do a feature. Yeah,
good. You've worked with a lot of people over the years in the industry. Are there any lessons you've learned from them?
Yeah, loads. I mean, when I used to assist, I used to assist for loads of DOPs, and I learned so much about how to handle my job now from them. Yeah. Like one thing that film school doesn't teach you is actually how to be a DOP on set. They teach you how to make movies and how to light and whatever, but the reality is when you're on set, you're actually like a manager. You have to manage a team, and you have to handle a lot of egos and different personalities, and that's something you can't really teach at school.
At school, no.
Yeah, and it's that's watching how DPs I used to assist for handled things like that is how I learned. Yeah. And just handling stressful situations, being I've learned from DPs to say no and tell people that they need to wait and things like that. Just because there's points on set where you've got so many people talking to you at once. You need to just sometimes, although it might feel rude, say to people, hold on, I'll deal with you in a minute. I'm just dealing with this right now. Yeah. Because otherwise you just get muddled up.
Yeah. So would you say that's perhaps as a DOP, that would be your most underrated skill?
Yeah,
man management, so. People management.
Definitely people management, floor management. Yeah, that's quite managing the teams that run smoothly is priceless.
Yeah. So any advice on people wanting to enter the industry at any level in any job? Because you've seen it all, you've worked with everybody.
I would say that the only thing you can do is keep contacting people. You have to be everywhere at every time. You just got to fake it till you make it, and just keep hassling. But don't get annoying. Don't be annoying because that's bad. But you have to be cheeky as well, and you have to push your luck slightly. But everything you can, and there'll be times where it feels when I was doing it. It was times where it feels like the whole world just forgets about who you are. And you feel like there's no hope at all. And it's just a rite of passage. You have to get through the misery and the pain to come out the other side. And there's no way that's not going to happen to people trying to get in the industry. It's going to be it'll feel like the most useless, dead-ended thing trying to get in the industry. But then one day it will happen. But it's a hard road. Yeah. But not for everyone. Some people, it's it's not, it's kind of easy. But a lot of people struggle. I came from a background where it's my family and everyone were all painted decorators. There's no one in my family who's artistic
in the arts.
Yeah, not even remotely. So I had like no contact to get into the film industry. So I had to go through that process of like, it's like I'm in my sat in my bedroom in my parents' house. It's just like, where do you start? Like no one even knows I exist. Like where even is the film industry? Do you know what I mean? It's like, so yeah, I mean, if you're in London and places where they film a lot, it's a lot easier, I guess.
Yeah.
But you just got to keep hassling people, find emails, hassle people, like just try get on set, try get experience, do stuff for free. Like I think there's like I think these days people are scared to work for free, but you just have to. Like if you really want it, you got to do that.
It worked in the old days.
It worked for me, yeah.
It worked for you.
Yeah, I did loads of stuff for free. It's like you just have to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah. You've got to show people that you can do something.
Yeah. And it's like an industry where, like, I hate to say it, but you could like literally have gone to prison, they'll still hire you if you go to a job. It's like once you're in, it's, you know, it's kind to you. It's if you stay kind to people, then they'll be kind back to you. So it's once you're in, then you're in, but it's hard to you get in the first place. You need to prove yourself, that's for sure.
Good. Well, thanks for coming in and having a chat. I know we've done this because we've got a lot of people that are into the technicalities of filming. So we've done this as an extra one, and you'll be doing one soon about your journey through exercise as well. So look forward to that. Thanks for coming in.
No problem.
Thank you.
Great.